Welcome to the Workplace Ninja Netherlands podcast, a series on Microsoft's modern workplace management.
Hi, welcome at a new podcast episode about the workplace series that we are having in the Workplace Ninjas podcast. Today, at a very nice location, as you can see. Peter, thank you for hosting us.
No problem at all.
And last time we talked about conditional access. That was an episode full of content. It was a really long episode, more than an hour that we talked with each other. We have touched the settings catalog, security baseline, basic policies, and autopilot already. But today we have a new topic where we will dive in a little bit in the use cases of Joost.
Shared devices.
Yeah, shared devices. Why should we use that?
You can better tell where you would like to place them. I think that's the better way to approach it. You can place it in a library where you can sit and you can get in touch with internet or a special application you're going to use at the library. You can set it in a healthcare location where a lot of people are working and only they have one PC to do their work at.
Yeah.
But a shared device is just a device where a lot of people can work on the same device and do their job. Yeah,
basically there are two types. We talk about the kiosk version, where nobody has to log in and only can use one or more applications. And second is the shared PC configuration that's used by different people, where they log in and use business applications. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's correct.
Peter, if we set up a kiosk PC, I think we already talked a little bit about it in the autopilot, because autopilot, you have the
self-deploying,
yep, and the user-driven, and self-deploying is more or less for kiosk.
For kiosk or for the multi-use of multi-person devices. Kiosk is. You see that a lot in libraries, indeed. Joost was mentioning, and they have a single purpose. It's basically a single-purpose device which is allowed to, for instance, start only the web browser, and then the device is completely locked down, or maybe one application which is being pushed out via Intune.
Yeah, so, in the old days, with AD and SCCM, for example, everyone can use a PC. We can put a PC in a building. Everyone who has an AD account can log in and can run applications that's on the PC. If you're looking at the new modern workplace, it's more user-driven. So everyone has his own PC, his own laptop. What are the challenges within the shared PC concept?
So if you don't do nothing special, and I see this a lot also with customers moving slowly towards the modern workplace by eliminating the group policies and then adopting the Intune policies. And if you have a hybrid join scenario still, and that's you shouldn't do this in a new environment, but moving forward towards a more modern workplace, which is Azure AD joint, then you need to cope with that. And then what you see is that you always have user affinity. So the primary user is bound to one device, and when the next user logs in, the policies flow down also in the user targeted scenario, and then you may end up with weird scenarios that policies become in a conflict state, and sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't work. So it's not an ideal scenario in existing environments. In in a new environment where you deploy a device via autopilot, self-deploying. There's no user affinity, and then it's much better.
Yeah, so the challenges with policies, they probably, if you are self-deploying and so on, the policies that will go well.
Mm-hmm.
But what about the applications? Are there any thoughts on it? Joost?
Yeah, we like to approach it in two ways. For you get the personal devices, like we have right here on our table right now. So you got personal devices, personally owned. It's just fight a normal policy and that kind of stuff. And when you go to the shared device, we mainly use SaaS applications. So only web applications. What you see there is mainly users with an F1 license, an F3 license, or an E1 license. So they're only bound to the Office web apps and that kind of stuff. We normally activate OneDrive on it as well, because a lot of applications do not allow internet technologies to get into OneDrive. So that's a little bit difficult. You have to do a little bit tricks, but maybe that's for a later stadium in this podcast. But that's the main focus as the application, so web applications.
Yeah, and if I have MSIs or Win32 apps or whatever, can we deploy that and can we use that in a shared PC concept within the from a modern workplace perspective?
Could be.
What are the challenges?
It's not because it's more device targeted and not user targeted. So there are, if you're going to look to a person who is going to log on and another person who are in different rights, so there have you've got a planner and you got someone of healthcare only, so only a nurse or something else, they have other applications. Those applications are on the same device, so they could use it. If you do not want it, it's not the best way to do it.
Yeah, if I have an MSI or a Win32 app that is deployed from my user context, and I've logged into that machine, you come afterwards, you do not have that applications. That application is installed and you can use it.
Yep.
So if you're using Shared PC, what you're saying basically is switch from user context to device context. So target all the apps and all the applications in the Shared PC concept targeted on device groups.
Yep.
Are there any challenges, Erik, within an MSP market or from another perspective?
I have also some experience with the shared PC, and I'm really not a big fan of the shared PC.
I really want to hear about that.
For example, the scenarios I come in is, for example, a company who has, for example, 10 clients. They used it to and have. Every time they get a customer and they can sit random table and then go after behind that PC. They have no apps, no interesting apps, but now we made it as a shared PC, but it's too limited for the customer.
Yeah.
So every time they open Outlook, it has to download all the Outlook, that's the search, there's the shared mailboxes, and they move on 2 days later to the next PC. The whole mail has to be downloaded again when they're using the Outlook app. And then you say, use the Outlook web app. No, they're not going to do that. So it's only for a school we have a working scenario on the shared PC, and all other scenarios are not working for me or for us. It's too limited, too much constraints. The solution and the solution we are using now is use the shared PC and then go to, for example, and with the newer licenses of Azure Windows 365, you can 3-on-1 that is maybe an option for the part-time workers. That's the situation. Then move the application to Azure Virtual Desktop in a brief. And the Shared PC is just another thin client managed by Intune.
Yeah, what you're basically saying, try to move into Windows 365 and use that Shared PC as the stepping stone to get into the Windows 365 environment.
Yes, because we have no libraries as a customer. So the use case, it's hard, it's different, it's not easy, too many constraints, limiting. So we are not using it only for one. We are only using it for all modern customers. One customer is which is an educational customer, and you have a educational center where every student can log in. Only web-based SaaS applications,
but that's for the students.
Only for the students, yes.
Yeah, I was this week and last week I was at a customer education school, and they have an administration where multiple people are working, and they have fixed PCs, so a fat client, and they need to use the Shared PC concept in that way. And the question basically, is that working? You're saying it's too limited, but if Peter, you was mentioning, if it's completely modern and not co-managed, hybrid or whatever, then it could be working.
Yeah, but you need to configure policies, of course. You have a special shared multi-user policy which you need to configure in Intune, which gives you a little bit of control about the way the machine is coping with data and with the profiles which are created and so on. So you need to make sure that your device will not be overloaded with policies. And like Joost mentioned already, redesign your deployment of apps and make sure that not all policies are maybe user targeted, but also partly device targeted.
It might be good to tell something about the policies. You can restrict a lot of things, and that's mainly due to data, due to the hard disk.
Yeah. Before I go into the policies, one question. We have a lot of policies and applications. If I am using a modern device, a laptop, and I'm coming at for example that school, I'm come into that school, entering the administration part, and then walk to that client, and I log in. We have targeted device policies for that machine. I'm using user-based policies because I have my own laptop. Can I log into that machine and will that work optimally?
Yeah.
So
do we have to do some stuff for it?
Yeah. Do we have the option back in the old days? I know there was a group policy where you can block all sort of policies and then only activate the policies that were on that OU, for example. Is that more or less the same that we can realize?
No. You can use filters. So you need to filter based on maybe the provisioning profile you use in Autopilot. So make sure that if you target a policy to all users, then you can exclude all devices that are enrolled by the self-deploying device.
So basically, first step is create a deployment profile.
Yeah.
Where you can set self-deploying. What is self-deploying is you're going to set the device somewhere, you turn it on, you connect automatically to the LAN because you're probably going to use desktop for those kind of devices.
Yeah.
Your LAN is enabled and that kind of stuff. Automatically you're going to get into the ESP environment, enroll it, and then you can log on to the device. So non-admin has to do anything about it. You can just turn it on. It's okay.
And that's we talked about that in the second recording about Autopilot because that's an Autopilot deployment profile.
Yeah.
What are you talking about? Yeah.
Next step is the policies, and in the policies you're going to turn off kind of stuff. So you're going to log on, and when you're going to log off, everything is going to be deleted as well. Or you can leave it on, so all the profiles stay on, but you cannot go into one of the profiles of the other users in there. So there's a security restriction in that one. And then you're going to delete in the hard disks, the profiles, on a stage where the hard disk is on a certain level of fullness. So that's sort of the first steps. You have to create a policy for it, shared PC policy. And the next step is you're going to filter things out. So the first things are device targeted, and then you can filter everything only on device targeted systems, and you can filter user targeted systems not going to be enabled on a device.
So basically what you're saying, we need to create a device group with all the shared PCs in it.
Yep.
And if you're targeting on that device, all user-based policies must not apply. And we can realize that with filters and so on. So all user-based targets are not applied at that shared-based PC. Only the device-targeted policy specific for that shared PC concept.
Yeah, true.
And if we realize that, do we have challenges with the situation where I described a few minutes earlier? When I using a normal device and using that shared PC, that can be normally done, or do we have profiles that on that machine that cover with the documents in OneDrive Sync or whatever?
You have to tell your users in an adoption phase, because you are used to use desktop applications. In this kind of situations, you want your users to use web applications. So Outlook on the web, Excel, Word, everything
that cannot
web-based.
That cannot be Office. The Office apps that can be installed.
No, because the licensing issue is there in place, and that is a difficult licensing issue. And that's the if you're using an app-free license, you have to use those apps only for a 10.1, 10.6 inch device.
Yeah, but if if the whole company is using an A3 or an E3 license.
Yeah, but then I would say, why don't you use a personal device?
Yeah, but that's education company. That's cool. What I talked about, they have an what is it?
E3.
Yeah,
E3.
I don't know why you would give.
Yeah, but you have.
Yeah.
So can we?
I know about scenarios where indeed there's a desktop and highly secure environments where people just log in and they work in shifts, so they have full license and need to work on a.
And they can use Office apps on that machine.
Yeah.
Because you can install that with the shared base.
In the scenario Joost was referring to, then basically the license is restrictive. So if you have a full license, you can use.
But then you have with the offline files, all this. So it's limiting, and from my opinion, it's keep away unless you have no other option.
Yeah.
Yeah, but if you look at that educational company, especially in the Netherlands, they have special prices for licenses. I don't know how that fits into Windows 365, because Windows 365 is a cloud service that costs probably a lot more than the basic license that they have. Mm-hmm. So there are scenarios where it will fit.
Yes,
but
true.
Yeah, and my main question before this recording was, will that work optimally?
Yeah, because in our use cases it is, but if you hop on device to device to device, then you have to do other things.
Yeah, but
like Outlook caching, it's not going to work. You have to turn it off. But what we see is when you do in shifts, and you got a full experience of the Office apps and that kind of stuff, then it's working properly.
Yeah.
And if you're logging in for the first time on a new computer, then it may take a while before your cache has been built.
And
so be it.
What about Windows Hello?
No. FIDO key.
No, FIDO key.
Yeah.
So Windows Hello is bound to your device, but the FIDO key isn't. So
that's what we use for the shared PC.
Yeah.
For the specific scenarios, this is no one size fits all. There are use cases, but they're limited.
Yeah, but if you want to use Windows Hello, basically that's user bound. What you're saying? So
device bound.
Yeah, device bound. So if I put in a pin code on that machine, the PIN code will not transfer to another one. So basically, you need to use a FIDO key.
Yeah, that's the way you want to use the user vehicles. We want to get rid of the passwords.
Yeah.
Or phone sign-in, where you fill in your UPN and then the phone.
Yeah. But if they can't pay a laptop for you,
Is
then
that already-
they are not going to give you a phone.
Is that already working? Because in the past, that was web-based sign-in.
Oh yeah, then you need to enable web sign-in. Yeah, of course. Yeah.
It's terrible because I've used that a few times.
But I think FIDO,
Yeah.
in a situation like this, you need to have a FIDO 2 key.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Are there any other things that we need to mention in a shared PC concept? Because autopilot deployment profile, specific configuration policies, applications, and all this other stuff based on device groups, filtering and deny all other user-based policies.
Maybe not all user-based policies. There might be some policies that are specific to users, and then you can still use user-targeted policies. But normally you would also target device policies to users in a user-centric environment. And that part you definitely need to assign to device groups.
Do I need to disable access to the company portal, for example? Because if I have applications that are targeted to user, can I block that with filters as well? Or can I install that, if that it's made available for me, can I install that through the company portal?
You can add filters to application as well.
Yeah.
The only thing filters is not working at this moment is the security baselines. So if you're using security baselines for your devices, that's not filter possible. So that's something we're targeting to users as well. So you have to write down what kind of policies you have in a normal device, and then you have to check which policy we want to set to a device and which policy are user targeted and needs to be set. Just like an Edge startup page, it could be user A does have start page 1 and the other one has number 2. Yeah. It could be difficult.
But the security baseline, we talked about it a few times ago.
Yep.
That is not something that we prefer to use.
No.
It's good to have them to make some comparison to your own policies, but not implement the security baseline as well. Not preferred.
Exactly.
Other things? Shared PC?
No.
Stay away from it.
Stay away. It's not only technical part. It's just the 50% technical and 50% customer needs, prerequisites. Do you want it? And the adoption pace, Joost already mentioned. So it's more about informing the customer from, hey, if you want to do this, you save some money.
Yeah.
But this is the downside of it. You have to be very clear. Otherwise, in your implementation, you get, they want that. And then you're running into problems. So stick to the original plan.
Yeah.
That is
basically
soft skills about it.
Yeah, and basically the modern workplace is focused user-centric. So everything is realized around that user-centric part. So everyone has his own laptop. Second step, Windows 365, for example, or AVD, but more or less Windows.
Line license then.
Yeah,
It's coming.
And then as third, if there is a specific use case, turn on the shared PC concept. And maybe kiosk, if you have a library or doing stuff with presentations or have a kiosk machine that can be used as well.
Yeah, at our customers, we're using a lot of shared devices. So in our use case, it's our main focus, I think, because in healthcare, you've got 15 people working on the same team in the same room and that kind of stuff. They're not allowed to use a PC because of the emergency phases, or people living there are not able to cope with that kind of devices. So there's one device they can do their work on.
But they are working also in shifts, Peter mentioning.
Could be, but also this is also 15 people are on that shift at once. a lot of use cases in our side is shared devices, and only the planners or higher hierarchy people are using personal devices. So if I going to check at healthcare, there's mainly focus on shared devices than on personal devices.
Yeah, and what I know, that was a few years ago, the shared PC concept was too little within the modern workplace setting. In the meantime, Microsoft has done a lot of stuff,
Yeah.
so it's working at the moment. But if you you need to have a special use case if you want to dive into that. Is that correct?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, you shouldn't deploy this throughout the company because it's easier to have desktops instead of laptops. That's not having laptops is old-fashioned.
Please know that. Thank you for listening for now. We will move into the next part. The next recording will be about update management, I guess.
Yeah.
So let's see what we can do there. Thank you for listening now, and let's see in the next episode.